Morning came unannounced and everywhere at once. Oteogo woke to the smell of warm stone and cinnamon, the crystal dome's ribs purling with gentle light. He lay still a moment, listening. The air sounded fuller, a song that had found its missing harmony. Fetchy snored at his feet, a tiny burrito of blanket and confidence. Katie's soft footsteps counted shelves in the next room. Tori muttered the word heroic in his sleep, and then insisted out loud that he never, ever talked in his sleep. The satchel sat on the table, closed, old, and at ease. Oteogo reached out and set his palm on the flap. He didn't open it. He didn't need to. For the first morning since the dream, he felt no tug to chase, no ache to prove. Instead, he felt a kind of finished. A circle has discovered itself. "Good morning," he whispered. The satchel didn't glow brighter. It glowed truer, a calm ember under dawn. Word traveled through Oteogo land, light hopping from mirror to mirror. Markets opened early, shutters clapping in applause. Neighbors leaned over balconies to pass news most reliably by pointing and smiling at the next person until the smile arrived. The elder light hovered lower than usual, casting a generous glow on the street below, as if approving the layout of the day. And on Earth, though Oteogo could not see it directly, small things shifted. A girl at a window remembered the joke she'd been too shy to tell and texted it anyway. A boy tied both shoes without being asked, and kept tying them each morning because the knot felt like a tiny contract. A teacher paused before the bell and asked a class to breathe 1, 2, 3, and a difficult hour softened at the edges. A parent caught a cranky moment before it grew teeth, laughed at it, and let the laughter rearrange the afternoon. The world got louder, then kinder, then real again. Oteogo made tea. Katie joined him with a ledger, a pencil, and the air of someone who had slept exactly enough to be precise. "So," she said, pouring 2 cups and measuring each pour like a ceremony. The vault returned what was stolen. The root stayed sealed through understanding, not fear. And now the world is remembering how to remember. "Concise," Oteogo said. "We could put that on a plaque." "We will," Katie said. "Plaza wall, east corner, 12 centimeters down from the second rib. It will please the geometry." Tori staggered in, hair in a cowlick that looked like a small storm. "I had a dream we adopted a comet," he yawned. "It ate the pantry," said the comet. "Accurate metaphor," Katie said, eyeing the empty pastry plate. Fetchy rolled onto his back and kicked his paws at the ceiling, perfectly proud of existing. They sat together quietly, teacups warming their hands. No one said the word hero. It wasn't the right shape for this morning. By midday, the plaza filled with practical celebration. Brooms swept, chairs stacked, broken buntings retied into better knots. No speeches, just a shared tidiness that felt like gratitude with a purpose. Oteogo, Katie, and Tori set up a small table in the dome's shadow. The glimmerbox sat on it, lid open, humming with well-behaved curiosity. Oteogo lifted a blank crystal card and ran his thumb along the edge. The old urge to make something that dazzled arrived, looked around, and relaxed into something else. The urge to make something that helped. "What now?" Tori asked. "Not worried, just hungry for a plan." "Now we build the kind of things that keep remembering easy," Oteogo said. "We don't replace the world's work. We help it notice itself." Katie placed the ledger on the table. "Plausible projects," she said briskly, which in Katie speak meant dreams with lists. 1. Glimmerbox 5. 2. Gentler light, clearer edges, less chance of accidental sock sorting. 2. Memory seeds, small charms that hum your own best promise back to you when you forget. 3. Maps that show you where you listened last week, not where you walked. Tori nodded with solemn approval. "Add snacks." "Always implied," Katie said. Oteogo laughed. The sound surprised him. It was lighter than yesterday's laughter. "Let's begin with the glimmerbox," he said. "And make sure it never tries to explode politely again." He switched it on. Light rose, calm and cooperative. He guided it into the new card. A small 3D image formed a feather, a droplet, and a flame braided into a single symbol. The image pulsed once and stayed. Oteogo tilted the card. The symbol followed but did not wobble. "Stable," Katie said, pleased. Tori leaned in. "Make one that looks like a pretzel." "We serve multiple audiences," Katie reminded him. "Exactly," Tori said. They made a second card together, a pair of hands reaching across a gap, meeting in the middle. When Oteogo set it on the table, He felt a small shiver run up his arm, not electric, but familiar. The Oteogo image wasn't just a picture. It is a magical card vocab adventure game. It was a reminder with weight. "This is what we make now," he said. "Not tricks, Oteogo tools." Fetchy agreed with a decisive sneeze. Far across the ridge, the Clutter suburb had become unusually quiet. The raiders did not know how to celebrate silence, so they celebrated near it. They gathered in their yard of bent rails and brave junk, sitting on buckets in a circle as if it were a classroom whose teacher had stepped out to refill a cup. Buzzblabber pinched the bridge of his nose the way he'd seen Gloomy Gloom pinch hers. "Team," he announced, "I have called this meeting with an agenda so wise, it has no bullet points." "I vote for naps," said Lazy Lurk automatically. "Motion considered," Buzz replied, "and placed gently in the future." Drifty Fog drifted up and cleared his throat. "Breaking news. I felt a feeling." Huffy Hate folded his arms. "Don't make a habit of it." Sticky Lies raised a hand. "I want to try telling the truth? Once? To see if my tongue falls off?" No one laughed at him, or if they did, it was quiet and kind. Gloomy Gloom looked at the cracked mirror they'd used as a scepter and set it gently on the ground. "What we did yesterday," she said, with the page sharing that felt less stupid than normal. Buzzblabber's voice softened. It did. They sat with that sentence as if it were warm bread. Finally, Buzz stood. "Citizens," he said, and did not climb onto a shopping cart to be taller. "We helped. Temporarily," Huffy Hate muttered. "Temporarily is a beginning," Buzz said. He took a breath he hadn't practiced. "I propose we try a radical innovation." He paused for dramatic effect, and then whispered as if telling a ghost a secret. "Cooperation." Gloomy Gloom did not roll her eyes. Seconded. Lazy Lurk yawned. "I will cooperate horizontally." They didn't change overnight, but the banner that had once read "Congratulation" found its missing letters. And for the first time anyone could remember, they hung the string lights so none of them drooped. Under the table, under the tarp, the space where the real lost page had been was carefully, gently emptied. Back in Oteoland, when afternoon slipped into a softer gold, Oteo carried the satchel outside. Neighbors waved and made room on the steps. A few children sat on the cobbles and watched, knees skinned, eyes bright, as if the steps were a theater and the day an easy play. "Will it glow for us?" a small voice asked. Oteo smiled. "It will glow for your questions." He set the satchel down and opened the flap. The light inside did not rush. It uncurled like a cat at a window. 3 images rose: wind learning to steady, water learning to join, fire learning to warm. The children leaned toward the pictures and found themselves leaning toward each other also. "Try this," Oteo said. "Think of a time you listened. Think of a time you were brave but quiet. Think of a time you held someone else's hand, not with fingers, with patience." They thought. The pictures did not change, but something in the air did something that tasted like peppermint and beginnings. A boy raised his hand. "Is that a magic bag?" Oteo looked at the satchel, looked at the boy, and shook his head. "No," he said. "It's a remembering bag. The magic part is you." The boy considered this and nodded, satisfied. Katie took notes as if writing down a recipe the day had taught her. Tori distributed slices of a cake that someone had left with a note that said simply, "For trying." Fetchy chewed a ribbon of light with great dignity and no consequence. The elder light drifted lower. Its voice, when it came, sounded like a library that loved to laugh. "Well done, bright ones," it said. "You have strengthened the place where choice sleeps." Oteo glanced up. "We didn't lock anything with fear." "No," said the elder light. "You taught the lock to remember why it shouldn't open." They watched the plaza do ordinary things beautifully. A spilled basket picked up by 3 hands. A joke told badly and received dearly. An apology that took 2 tries and landed on the 3rd. It was enough. Evening folded Oteoland into itself. Lantern moths bobbed between doorways. The musicians played a scale, and then another. Not a performance, just practice in public. Practice felt holy. Oteo returned to the work table and placed the glimmer box beside the satchel. He removed the 3 new cards they'd made that day and slid them into a small sleeve. The satchel seemed to approve. It hummed once and fell quiet again. Katie closed the ledger with a soft thwop. "Tomorrow," she said, We make a small batch of remembering cards and test them with the school across the lane. Tomorrow, Tori agreed. I carry everything and complain heroically. Fetchy pressed his face into Oteo's knee and sighed the contented sigh of a creature who believes in the floor. Oteo rested both palms on the satchel. He thought of the dream, the earthyard, the kids playing Veo Veo. He thought of the way their bodies had leaned toward answers, how seeing had been a full-body event, not just an eye trick. He thought of the word his name carried, and the promise he kept, to look kindly, to look long. Thank you, he said to the satchel, and meant it like you mean a word you put down after carrying it a long time. The satchel gave a quiet, heartbeat-deep pulse. He closed his eyes and let the sound settle. On the ridge, a wind picked at the horizon like a harp. Far beyond Oteoland, past the clutter suburb where cooperation was learning to pronounce itself, a very small, very curious thing blinked awake in a place where no one was looking. It was not evil, it was interested. It found a string on the edge of a thought and tugged it. Somewhere, a cupboard door swung open at exactly the wrong moment and exactly the right time, and two strangers laughed, and a plan changed, and a new story exhaled. Mischief, it turned out, did not need keys. It needed opportunity and witnesses who could turn it toward play instead of harm. Oteo didn't hear that wind in words. He heard it in the way the lamps flickered once, as if winking. He opened his eyes. Tomorrow, he said. We keep looking. Tomorrow, Katie said. Tomorrow, Tori agreed, already halfway to finding cake. Fetchy said, Merp, which meant I was born ready for tomorrow. They tidied the table. They turned off what glowed too much and left on what glowed just enough. The satchel watched with the content intelligence of a tool that has found its place. As Oteo set the satchel by the window, the leather took the lamplight and made it quiet. The scar threads along the flap no longer looked like roads that hurt. They looked like roots that mattered, constellations pressed into the grain. When he brushed a thumb along the edge, the scent rose, smoke and rain, and old Page's history chose to be useful. Oteo smiled. What the world remembers, he said softly, we help it keep, the satchel answered with a single, certain pulse. Outside, night stitched itself to the edges of Oteoland. The stitch held, and somewhere, very far and very near, a new thin glow considered whether to misbehave, and then decided to wait for company.